Hello everybody, thank you for joining us. Today we'll be doing a different sort of exercise with a marker. So what we're going to do is we're going to use fills to finish off our drawing. I am doing a Street Fighter, so I'm just going to determine my margins here pretty much all the way. So what we're doing is let's use a pencil to first put in some kind of frame that we can work on. So I'm using some perspective, and I'll be using foreshortening perspective up to some degree in any case. So I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm doing Ryu, the Street Fighter Ryu, and I'm using, as I said, just like fill techniques to finish off the drawing, hoping that it'll be easy, and it usually is unless something does not go according to plan. So as you see there, those are the shoulders, that is his head, and I'm going to put the other arm. So there's the foreshortening, smaller here, some foreshortening right there, and I am going to do fingers again. So it's, the pose where he does that blast. So it's the Hadouken blast. So here we put down the chest, and his lower torso will be somewhere here. So I'm going to finish off at the legs there. But now I'm going to use the marker. It's a nice brush, as you see, and this is from the Color Factory, and it could be any brush marker for that instance, but I would actually recommend lighter colors. A lighter marker like this one is, although like it's brown, but it's really light. So we're going to flesh out Ryu from the, let's say, from the inside out. Yeah, this is called an inside out technique, where you just have to have all the elements in place, in the sense that you have to scope out where you're going to cram in the inks and the fills, and how you're going to make all the details come out. So I'm starting with the outer arm. The arm is in the foreground. It is the first thing that we are dealing with. So I am starting there, and as you see that as we progress, I'm going to be, perhaps I'll employ another tool in putting down some more detail, but right now I'm just using this marker to go one step at a time and put down all my fills for me. So I'm going into the glove now, and I have said that he is, but we are trying that Hadouken pose. So to use that brush to put the thumb somewhere there, and I'm using again the light sources from that side. I'm using the inks, so the inks are falling in toward this side to make it appear as if the other side is illuminated. So wherever essentially there is some muscle structure, we're throwing in some kind of crosshatch, and we're throwing in crosshatch wherever there's an object. In this case it's Ryu, so the main object will be his clothing that is going to cast the rest of the shadows. And there is the raiment, the tattered getup that he uses, and we're going to work the bicep in, and for that matter the other details in as well as we go along. So I'm just using minimal structure here to as you see, I've used very minimal crosshatch on the fingers there, and even though like they're not there yet, but we're stopping there, and the rest of it is a very quick fill right there. And the same okay, so the same exercise will continue here. So the light source is really here and going out like this. So we're going to crank out some crosshatch right there against that light source. That, as you have guessed, is the thumb really over there. And of course we have the part of that glove showing, and against that light source we have some fills going, and that is the foreshortening that I spoke of, that we'll be using. That in that we are not really showing all of his forearm, so it's just curled up, it's behind, and I'm using minimal tones here because after all there's light falling against it, and we're just trying to put this down in a few minutes, and that is how it is supposed to work. And that's the raiment, the tattered swag that he's wearing. So a little bit of crosshatch there in the delt. Okay, so that should cover up some of it. And then here you could take the liberty of putting in some inks. That is fine. And even here, because some of that is behind the hand, and you could actually go and you could actually get away with breaking a few rules. And okay, so we come and concentrate on the face, lines in place. As you've seen that I have only used the hefty part of the brush so far in this exercise, and I have not at all employed the lighter part of the brush. Putting in his, again, that headband, evening that out, and of course the other tattered part of the his getup is right there. So as you see, the face is beginning to materialize between the overly defined shoulders, and that's the way we like it. And I'm going to put in very quickly, again using the same point, some of that scraggly hair. And right there, that raiment or his getup lands against it. A bit of the ear showing there, but now the chest requires some filling out right there, and we're putting that in. And I know that it's a little tricky detail to work with, but that's the way it is, and it's actually okay. And there is the chest going right against the bicep, and we're going to use some crosshatch to fill that out like that, and make that more even. And you'll see that the bicep will of course fall in place. And right there, we're going to have a little bit of the pull there in the fabric. And we're going to come in, keep putting in some scraggly here, and we're going to put in his iconic and very famous headband. No semblance necessarily, or if you are very detail oriented, you could put in some details if you like, but as you see that it's coming together bit by bit. Now this forearm of course will be somewhere here, so we're going to just use some crosshatch going upward in that fabric, and then land a line against it just to give that little blend feel to the whole thing. And right under here, just using very minimal detail, and I'm using the same point all across. As you've seen, there is his again part of his getup showing there, quicker fills there. How detail oriented this has to be is all up to you. So his leg, I'm going to put in crosshatch right there, crosshatch, and more crosshatch. Okay, so as you see that the core concept has been covered here at this point, and that being that we have managed to put down the image using just, well, we used a bit of pencil right in the beginning to flesh him out. We've used just the one point, the brush, to illuminate this, and I'm using the same brush, no sorry, I'm using the thinner point, and you could grab any point there which will land about the same color. And I'm using, so let's say that I have a little semblance of the fingers here, I'm going to have the blast, or if you want to wish to call it, the Hadouken that is originating right there in his in the center of between his hands, with the placement that way. I'm going to have some details running right through and it suggests sort of an illuminated figure. So that is the core concept of just using fills from the inside out. And now I'm just going to finish off by incorporating some other one or two other tools and finishing off with some details.